Hi, Leandros. Hi,
Hey,
James.
how are you?
Good. You look like you're somewhere in Greece and outside having a good
I'm
time.
in, I'm in Cyprus visiting family and
Oh,
good
Cyprus.
opportunity.
Okay, close. I've never been to Cyprus, but it's supposed to be very nice.
It's beautiful, especially this year. It's a lot less hot than normal, so everyone is loving it.
Define a lot less hot.
It hasn't been 40 degrees yet.
In the UK, people are complaining at it being 30 degrees.
No, we usually go up to 45 in the summer.
Oh, yeah. I was in Wales last weekend, and
Okay.
it was reaching 29 degrees, and everyone was complaining about the heat. So.
29 is a beautiful, cool day for us.
How's it going, guys?
Good.
Very well.
Good. Yeah. So we're comparing notes on the weather, Ryan.
Yeah, it's been a bit toasty here, but it's not too bad. We have lots of AC. We actually have 2 ACs in our house, so it's as long as I don't go outside, it's fine. I have a server room that has its own dedicated AC.
Yeah, I have a house that has its own dedicated AC. You open the windows and. Hi, Yuda.
Hello. Hi, Kevin. Hi, everyone.
I know. Hi, Andros. So Alex is not joining us today. Does anyone else have any things to add to the agenda? When I was putting the agenda together, I thought there's something I should be including, and I can remember what it was. So if you've missed anything out, please let me know. Hi, Christian. I checked with Christian yesterday whether there's anything from his perspective. So I was expecting Jeff Watson to join us from IO, but to discuss Laos, I've included a section on Dijkstra planning. We had some discussion yesterday, Ryan, and we've been so Ryan and the Hard Fork working group, and there's been some ongoing discussion. So Jeff asked to have a slot on the TSC. It turns out that he's very busy today and on holiday next week, so we'll put him on the agenda for the start of the meeting in the week beginning the 27th. We can meanwhile cover the planning status as it came up at the Hard Fork working group. So give people another minute or two to join if they're late. Anyone late? Hi, Martian. Anything to add to the agenda from your perspective?
My perspective.
Yes.
No.
Your unique perspective as working from the developer side, Martin.
No, nothing.
Great. So let's get started. Reasonably full agenda today, so let's not waste time. So welcome to the Technical Steering Committee meeting of the 15th of July 2026. We've lost Bosco. Thank you, Bosco. So let's kick off the meeting as usual by considering the actions from the last meeting.
Sorry, I was having obviously some issues with the connectivity. Okay. Why am I opening this? Sorry, just a second. I'll be quick. July 8th actions. Just to share the right tab. Okay. Pass on the approved TSC budget messaging. That was done. Cardano over coffee, you did it. Former summary. What happened with this one?
Yeah, apologies, I've not had time to do that yet. Bosco, I'll make a note to my to-do list.
Perfect. Neil, offline engagement strategy to address the deficient vendor response regarding linear layoffs. Layoffs. God. So, Neil, you?
Not managed to make that conversation.
Okay. Okay, it will be on the agenda anyway. I mean, layoffs. Ryan blueprint. It was on Ryan Value or Ryan Ryan Williams. I'm not sure.
I think it's Ryan Williams.
Okay. I will ping him.
Let's reach out to Williams.
Sync up regarding the coordination for the cost reduction. Alex is not here, so I suppose this is Ryan Wiley, right?
Yep. We do have the draft. I've reviewed it. I think a few others have reviewed it. As far as I know, it should be ready to go.
Okay. And Tex and me, this was done as a thread based on what Kevin suggested. So I suppose we can move to the rest of the agenda.
Great. Yep. So thank you everyone for being so efficient. So item number 1 on the agenda, Van Rossum hard fork status. Ryan, do you want to take this?
Sure. Let me pull up the page to talk about the Van Rossum stuff. I have too many pages open. 1 second. Grades 14th. Okay. The page is the hard fork was ratified recently on 13 July, should be enacted on 18th July. So that is coming up quick in 3 days. I think that's it as far as Van Rossum, right?
Yeah, so the hard fork working group meeting was quite short this week discussing Van Rossum. All the indicators are very positive. We've got something like 93% of block production using node version 11, so that's extremely good, well above the target, which I think is 85%. All the indicators are good for this hard fork, and the technical support is in place. So the IO team confirmed they had put in place the technical support team. We'll be setting up some kind of hard fork watch party, so a public event. Bosco, you were going to do that, I think.
Come again. What do you mean by I'm going to do something?
You were going to organise a public meeting that people could join either as an X space.
Yeah. To have a bridge call. Yeah, I was having some issues. I was under the impression that it was said, but it wasn't in the end. So I need to figure out what and make it public for everybody to join.
Great. So yeah, so we'll publicise that via the Slack channels, and we can also publicise it via X.
Yes.
And that will be completely public. Anyone will be able to join. The only question is, do we do it as an X space, or do we do it via Google Meet?
Google Meet is probably good.
So we'll leave you to organise that, Bosco, and let us know what the details are.
Yep.
So everything going well, all looking good. Looking forward to protocol version 11. Well done to the teams for getting us to this stage. And fingers crossed for a smooth hard fork. So moving on, next item on the agenda. Sorry, Neil, go ahead.
Just quickly, what on-chain actions does this strand, if any? Because that was that issue of the hard fork.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's a question about whether any items would be bumped by this. And in the event, Ikigai, so the Ikigai deposit withdrawal expired prior to ratification as a result of the hard fork being enacted. The voting was, well, the voting is still open, I think, Ryan, right? Still possible.
Good question. I'm not sure. Actually, I don't think it actually reached the threshold anyways, presumably because people knew it would be dropped.
Yeah, so we reached about
It was dropped.
Yeah, so we reached about 62%. The action has been dropped. If the GRAPs want to reconsider this, they have the option of resubmitting the proposal now.
Okay, I'm just saying, I just wanted, we had the discussion last time of side effects. I just want to know what the side effect was. Thank you.
Yeah, so the side effect was the one governance action was dropped, unfortunately. Great, so moving on, next item on the agenda is Dijkstra hard fork planning.
Just a second. Just to close this one. Yes.
Yeah, so we had a discussion at the hard fork working group meeting yesterday. Most of the meeting was devoted to the hard fork planning. Quite a constructive meeting. It's clear there's differences of opinion over things like scope and timing. Ryan, do you want to fill us in?
Yes, there was discussion about the scope, which ships would be included, discussion about the time windows. I think we're trying to aim for a thin hard fork, aiming for November, possibly, if I'm not mistaken. I think anything later than that is going to be skipped in December, so it would have to jump into January at the earliest. Still working out the process for that. I think I've seen some drafts floating around. Hopefully we'll have that soon. I've been in touch with Kevin, myself, and Sam, discussing that process and the scope decisions. Next is create an ecosystem dependency mapping document. If you have a project for implement that's a dependency, you can fill out the form and use that. And then Bosco is working on a Gitbook space under technical steering committee. I think that is it for Dijkstra.
Yeah. So to fill in on what Ryan's saying, the proposal for the so the proposal from IO is for a relatively light hard fork that would introduce Laos and minimal other scope, with a scope freeze planned for the end of this month.
If I'm not mistaken, it's the primary focus is nested transactions, and then Laos is just going to be Laos and Paris is just going to be block body changes with nothing actual implemented Laos or Paris wise.
Okay, that's wasn't what Jeff was implying, right? So we should clarify that.
Okay.
So my understanding from what Jeff was saying is that the ambition was to execute a hard fork to enable Laos in November.
Yeah, maybe it's a matter of perspective, because I think it's that the Laos features won't be available, but the changes will be, and then the intra hard fork after that will enable Laos. Is that more or less what was communicated?
Let's make sure we clarify
Okay.
that,
Yeah.
right? Because it's one of the things that we have to do. So as I was pointing out in the hard fork working group channel, we basically have 3 events coming up. So we've got Dijkstra +1, possibly as an intra-era hard fork, and then what I'm calling Euler, which may not even be the right era name. And some things will go into Dijkstra, other things will be delayed slightly to the intra-era hard fork. The scope there has to be relatively limited. So in particular, any parameter changes have to be introduced at Dijkstra. And then anything that needs ledger changes that wasn't included in Dijkstra that needs parameter changes, for example, has to be postponed to Euler, or major changes that we've not been able to include in the intra-era hard fork have to be postponed to Euler. So we need to get this clear, so the community has to know what is it buying into, what's it expecting to get, what are the anticipated timelines. But I'm not sure I see the point in going for a light hard fork if it's not including Laos. I thought the whole point of going for an early one was to get Laos deployed early.
I'm of the same opinion.
So let's make sure we clarify that tomorrow.
Right.
I mean, clarify this, Laos deployable, because turning it on is an intra-heartbeat. I mean, the idea of changing all the software and turning on Laos at the same time?
Yeah. Well, it might be possible. So it depends what's being rolled out, Neil.
I know, that was just saying, that sounds like I mean, I don't, that I'm just saying, because that means all the parameters have to be right, everything's got to be correct. That's a big red letter day, guys, that you're making there.
Yeah, I've been pointing out to people that this is a major item scope. So just having a hard fork just enables Laos would by itself be a pretty major thing.
Yes.
And
Right.
then adding in lots of additional functionality.
Yeah, well, yes, enables facility, because the point, I think we have to, it doesn't start Laos, it just enables the fact it could be started. Yes, that's the important.
It enables Laos.
Yes, yeah.
Sorry. But what Ryan was saying is it might be even weaker than that. Okay.
Well, Ryan, you seem to imply nested transactions. And what else?
Yeah, I'll share the document I'm reading right now.
Thank you. I'm just,
It's pseudo-public anyways. I just posted it in the chat.
It must be, come on, it's got to be accessible to us guys, otherwise I'm going to right.
Yeah, so this is still a draft. So this is, I guess it's not frozen until it's frozen at the end of this month is what I think we decided on earlier. But my understanding of the current direction things are heading is that nested transactions is the primary feature.
Right.
And block body extensions for Laos are building blocks that could be used to enable Laos later. And also Paris and SIP 180 producer identification, which I think that one's really simple. So
Okay.
That's a large number of okay.
Yes, there's quite a few big ticket items, Neil. And
Right. And
Laos and Paris almost certainly will interact in some way.
well, the point is, this doesn't suggest that they're actually going to be, they're going to be sort of there but not enabled later. Right. I'm just looking at the set of things above, right? And my question would be, have these all been tested for any interactions between each other?
I
think that was what Kevin brought up in the meeting, is that they're all going to have to be tested, which is likely going to push the date back beyond what we were thinking.
Because, if you're thinking that, there would have to be on a test net somewhere, all of these things enabled so that people can actually run a test against them to see they don't have a nasty interaction.
Yeah, integration testing.
There's an you've got, what am I seeing? 3, 6, 8, 10, 12 features here, right?
Yeah, I know it's a big scope.
From a systems, I'm just saying from a systems engineering point of view, it sounded like that's too much scope.
Yeah, and Plutus V4 as well, I think, Ryan. Did you mention Plutus V4?
I see it
yes.
here, but I just see it as introducing the context. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, a few of these are very simple, like SIP 181 is just deleting 2 lines of code to remove a requirement for.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. These things may not be huge code changes, but changing one character in a code can make a huge difference to how it behaves. Right? I can give you plenty of examples in the real world for that. So I'm just saying, system integration, throwing these things up against the wall. Somebody's got to test them.
So. There is the section that's conditional on readiness that suggests that Paris or Laos could reach mainnet readiness and actually make it into the full Dijkstra scope. But that still seems to be TBD based on the way this is written.
Right, so that suggests that they're not mainnet ready yet. That's what you're saying.
Well, that they could be by the time this hard fork hits.
Yeah, you have to work back from the hard fork date, right? So realistically, if the goal for a hard fork in November, which is already
So work your way back. It's 2 months at least.
three months.
It's 3 months from now, right? It basically we already know we need 2 months to go through test nets and all the rest of it. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And a month of governance decision.
And
So,
a
yeah,
month,
so it's-
and a month of governance decision, and there's changes to the constitution. You said potentially here.
Yeah, they could be postponed, Neil.
They could. You're telling me they could be postponed. They could be postponed until they come. I.e., you couldn't turn on Laos, for example. If Laos was dependent on a governance change, the constitution change, they would have to wait until the constitution had been sorted.
If you accepted the risk of not being able to change the initial Laos parameter settings, then you could deploy it without the governance change, without the constitution change.
I'm going to use swear words at this point.
Right. The guardrails prohibit you from changing a parameter unless a
That sounds like complete sophism. Right. I mean, the reason I'm about to swear is you that's lining yourself up.
Yeah. No, I'm
Huge risk. Huge risk. Right.
Not absolutely not ideal. Right.
Absolutely, I would not vote for. Is what I'm saying. It's so badly ideal. It's stupid, right? Because you haven't got any. You're basically giving away all possible levers of control and recovery by that process, right?
Well,
that's a stupid thing to start down, right?
So you wouldn't want to do that if you were enabling layoffs. So if you were,
you'd have to have a bunch of. I'm just saying we're supposed to be the custodians of the system, being reasonable and having control over it. If we have somebody needs to produce a dependency graph of what depends on what,
yep,
and get the timeline sorted out from it, because I think what we're discussing here is dependencies, and if you're saying, Kevin, I'm just saying naughty boy, Kevin, by saying, we can shortcut it, right?
No, I'm saying,
I don't think shortcuts, which mean that we can't control things. If things go wrong, we should all be sacked.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying we should, Neil. I'm simply saying it's possible. Right.
It's sounding to me like the November timeline is ambitious, and we're probably going to slip based on all the additional testing we're going to find is necessary.
Yes, so I mean, but it is my experience of these events that once you construct a dependency graph, add times to all that dependency graph and all the rest of it, you basically see that the ambitions are ill-founded, right? I mean, and let's do, instead of arguing because we just need to get it written out. If somebody could turn this into a timeline.
Yeah, we can do that. So just on a quick estimate, and if the hard fork was to happen by the end of November,
yeah,
I mean the governance action needs to be submitted by the end of October.
Yeah.
If it takes 2 months on test nets, that takes us back to the end of August at the latest.
Right.
Production.
No, wait a minute. No. The point is, wait a minute. You've missed a step, right? And the step that you've missed is that actually we have to wait for all the nodes to become ready. So the testnet deployment, there's also then a period of everybody deploying it on
upgrade your nodes,
the binary on mainnet, which takes a month or two.
Yeah,
because you can't start the vote to say it should happen until you know that the systems could take it.
and this is assuming there's no regressions or serious bugs found anywhere along the line.
But this is assuming this is
everything goes perfect.
Everything is this is assuming the Lego movie. Everything is awesome and perfect, right? Right?
Yeah. So
I'm just saying it's an empty promise.
Yes, that would imply end of July to have production ready.
In 2 weeks.
Right? Back of an envelope suggests that if it wasn't already production ready, we couldn't do this in November.
Yeah, which is consistent with the 6 months between hard fork rule of thumb.
Yeah,
that we've been setting.
That's true.
Because basically, I don't think so. I'm being very nice. Forget about all the rest of it. I think we have just said, that this is a I don't know how to describe it. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not realistic.
Let's have the conversation.
I'm just saying, okay, dear hard fork produces a timeline. You will come to a similar conclusion, right? And then basically it ceases to be a debating point because it's just not feasible.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'll so I was planning to produce a document of gating requirements, Neil, anyway, for discussion here. I think we can agree the timeline for November is extremely ambitious.
You're being too not you. It's a way with the fairies, is what I would say, right? It's more than extremely ambitious. It's a way with the fairies, right? Yeah. That's just too British of us. I think we should be more Welsh at this point. Okay, Bosco, you seem to be having a great time with the little icons there.
The images.
I just say, okay. So I think the point here is, it's ambitious to the point of infeasible. Okay.
I'm not quite sure where the motivation is coming for November either, so that needs to be considered. We can let's come up with a sensible timeline here. We don't have to. I'm just yeah. We don't have to make an explicit statement yet. But
but what I'm saying is, we can't see how this could be done in less than 3 months from a ready position, right? And more like 4, given the way it works.
Yes. So Alexei pointed that out yesterday as well. He said, well, based on things being ready for Van Rossum and as executing the hard fork was basically 3 months.
But was it? I think it was longer.
From being ready, there were various iterations we went through where things needed.
Okay, right. So basically, the first version of Van Rossum was how long did they have to refine it for after the?
About 3 months in the end, 2 to 3 months.
Right. So there's 2 to 3 months to refine it. Then 3 months after that, it was enactable. Okay.
Right. Yeah, that's roughly speaking.
So there is no reason to believe this will be different.
Okay, so that's the timeline. It was also becoming clear that there's dissent over the scope, Ryan. So there's clear difference of opinion over what's needed for this hard fork, and what seems to be proposed is that we need to plan for the whole scope for the Dijkstra and Dijkstra +1, the intra-era hard fork, and we need to make sure that any parameters that could be enabled at Dijkstra +1 are available in Dijkstra.
Yeah,
So those need to be available even if they're not turned on at the point of enactment, the hard fork enactment. Yeah.
So can I say? I mean, I don't want to. I mean, the hard fork working group is the people who are going to come and make the decision. But if they can't make a decision, then they're going to have to refer it to the TSC to help with the resolution, right? Because we're not looking here. What was the main body of contention on the scope? Did people want more? Or do people want less?
I think it's that people want more. I think we haven't even talked about the incentive SIPs, which is another bag of worms.
Okay, so what you're saying is there's a whole bunch of features that people want, and that you may end up with, okay, so there's a possibility that the thing I would ask of the hard fork working group people is if they start to get into a deadlock because of different groups of people wanting to have different things, that they involve us early to help us resolve that problem.
Right, and this is one of the things that we discussed about how to get community input on the process as well. I actually spent the past week and I implemented SIP 179 into 5 different tools, so that might actually be available. But if not, we can just do a regular info action,
Yeah,
or we can do Ecclesia or whatever else.
It maybe one way of doing this is to hold, please send somebody an email. What do you want, guys? I mean, we could. There's an info. I know there's a formal way of doing it, but actually we could do if you want a certain feature, send it to this inbox, please.
There's a Google form via Intersect newsletter. There's
a lot of ways of doing that.
Yeah, there's a lot of things.
The point is that the thing I'm concerned about is that we will have just vested interests representing themselves, on this committee and not actually taking what the users want. That's always the difficulty, right?
What we're saying is there's a divergence between what people are saying they want and what has been implemented, Neil.
Right.
Yeah, I think to a degree we're at the mercy of implementers and what they are willing and capable of doing.
Oh,
They have their own interests as well, so.
Yeah, they're a vested interest too, right? This is always the problem here is, there's this is welcome to the large scale integration problems, right?
Yeah. So the issue we're trying to resolve is over what needs to be included into some minimal scope, Neil, for Dijkstra that will satisfy the community, so the community will still be willing to vote in favour of the hard fork, won't reject the hard fork because it doesn't have the features they feel are absolutely essential. So that's one of the difficulties that has to be addressed.
Right.
There's a real danger that you can come along with some defined scope and it doesn't have a feature that SPOs feel is absolutely essential, and they're simply going to reject the hard fork, regardless of what the implementers do.
Oh God.
Yeah.
The next thing we'll be involving is YouGov, and people getting phoned up to be polled. Yes. Okay.
Yep.
I get it. Look, it's not easy, but I think we need to. All of this is not going to make it run faster. Okay. Happen faster. Right.
Yep. The sooner we get this kicked off, the better. But the sooner the earlier we make people aware, Ryan, there could be scope for future hard forks. This isn't a hit it or miss it deadline, the better. There will be some inter-era hard fork that will pick up some functionality.
Could I make a suggestion? What it seems to be here is we have SIPs, which are the things that the features are going to happen. We have the title of them. Could we have who the vendor is, and could we have where the code is at a table, right? Because it's clear, it's unclear here whether these things are implemented, ready to be implemented. Then we can add another row to it, which says a column to it that says, does this require parameter changes, for example?
This is the part of the process that's very fuzzy because SIPs are they're not necessarily, it's an idea, right? Like it's been formally through the SIP process doesn't mean that an implementer's picked it up. So some SIPs are in all sorts of different areas that are associated with treasury withdrawals. Some were voted on in Ecclesia. Some have different proposers.
Do we have, if we could have an SRL associated with them, software readiness level, right? Something that makes it, because otherwise you might be comparing chalk and cheese.
As far as I know, SIPs don't usually have any code for the SIPs unless it's reproducing some data that it goes into supporting it.
Okay, so somehow we need to know the software readiness level of the concept.
Yeah, you also need to know the complexity, Neil. So
yes.
as Ryan's saying, if it's 2 lines of code that have to be removed, the SRL might be 1, but the implementation might take a day.
That's fine. I'm looking here for. I'm looking for this to be something that I can look at, that anybody can look at, not just me, right? And come to say, well, this seems reasonable. Yeah.
So we also need to look at what the limitations are. So if the problem is the ledger team is at capacity for what they're capable of implementing in the allotted time frame, there could be additional implementers added to do work on separate things. Like you align to these SIPs, you align to these SIPs, and we have all converged. We still have to do the integration testing, of course.
There's somebody's
figuring out the limitations.
Law that says that's the worst possible thing you can do when trying to reach your deadline.
Of course.
More implementers, right? But what I'm saying is, yeah, let's work out what the issue is, right? Let's not work out the solution. Let's work out what the solution space looks like, and then it is my constraints. It is my basically when you expose all the constraints, it typically turns out there's one answer that makes sense, and everybody says, "Oh, we have to do that then." Okay, so what I'm saying.
Yeah. So talking to people on the call yesterday, there isn't a clear idea of the development status for most of the SIPs. there's no clear indication of, is this 90% complete, is this 50% complete, etc.
Has it been tested? Has it been validated?
No.
There-
I don't think any of the items have got to that stage.
I think there are many that have had considerable work done, but I don't know how public it is to know what stage they're at.
Well, that they got to tell us.
Yeah.
They can hold their feet to the fire when it right. There's responsibilities coming, and they want to make a huge. This is a huge change to the community, right? And as you say, it's got to make sense. You may find that people say, well, unless I have Laos up and running, why should I vote for it? But I mean, it's interesting that what you say is nested transactions appears to be the most mature, right? And what should be enabled. That seems good to me. I'm looking forward to them, but yes.
Yeah. So one of the implications of all this, Neil, is there's been work done on Peras. Tweak seem to think that it's almost ready, or a lot of work has been completed. That's likely to be integrated. The question is whether we can have both Peras and Laos enabled in the same hard fork or not. Okay.
Well, that given that they clearly both end up with voting mechanisms, right? They each one has a non-trivial loading expansion, loading. From what I know of Peras and Laos, right? You turn them on, the base load goes like this. No, it's not going to go like this. It's going to go like that, right? This is a this makes a whole resource consumption problem. There's a whole bunch of features here about the system integration that need to be resolved. Yes. Yeah, because basically, remember from memory, the calculation of turning on Peras was equivalent to shipping as much data as 4 blocks, right? Laos is also just the voting was, right? And now.
Yeah, I think they might be using the same voting scheme now.
Yeah, but they're not using the same voting data. They're not, right? What I'm trying to say is, you may have a doubling and then I'm just saying these things do not merge without having. They all have consequences on the underlying resources.
Right. And these need to be considered.
And these need to be sorted out. We may not be able to turn on both at the same time.
Right. So in particular, Laos might be being developed onto the assumption that you don't have the Peras load. Peras might be being developed onto the assumption you don't have the Laos load.
That would be absolutely typical in any large-scale system, as they don't consider the consumption of common resources. Right?
Yeah, and that could then restrict either or both of the mechanisms.
Yeah, and if you turn them both on at the same time, the plane falls out of the sky, type of thing. Okay, that's my problem.
I don't think it'd be that bad, but
well, it was only the test aircraft, so it was okay. Right? But anyway, I'm just saying you don't find this out until testing and loading and all the rest of it, and then you're into. Okay, so when I ask timeline, status, and then we could start talk about resource consumption and how they might merge.
okay, just making a note of
that. Yeah. Dependencies then timeline actually, right? Because I think once you write the dependencies down, the timeline, it becomes clear that the timeline won't work, right? The other thing is you can write that all up, and you could include the graph for that dot. You could institute Mermaid in these stuff. You can get it to do that for you automatically, right? Calculate it for you. Anyway, sorry, too long. But I mean, again, we thought we had to start this. We've started it now. We knew there's it's clear that this is going to take 6 months at least. 2 months into this, we should be planning the next one, right? Otherwise, it's going to be a rolling program.
Yeah, absolutely. We did try to get the planning started earlier, but
Nobody's interested. Nobody's interested. Or the resources aren't there to consider two at the same time. I get it, right?
But I think it's more that Van Rossum took more effort than we were anticipating.
The resources weren't there to consider two at the time. Yes. Right.
Okay, should we
Move on.
done enough discussion on Dijkstra? I think so. That gives the clearest picture that we have at the moment, and there's going to be a lot of discussion continuing on that.
It says neither are ready. Okay, this does state at the top here that they're not ready. Okay, just reading the first paragraph.
Okay, so moving on to the parameter committee. Alex isn't here, so Neil or I, either you can take it, Neil, or I can take it.
Well, as it says, the mean size is done. Right, that's great. So that's that removes a potential risk of people walking away and us not being able to do anything. We've submitted the governance action for reducing the pollutus limits as we promised, and we bundled the min pool cost 75 and the pollutus limits increase because we promised the pollutus limit increase. We had to do it in two parts because of the constitution. As it says, it's been submitted to preview. I assume has that been our typical approach here is once it's on preview and has not broken the system for at least one epoch, we will put it on to pre-prod and then on to mainnet.
Yes, my understanding is that we need to check on the link in the notes, but my understanding is submitted to preview yesterday, Neil, so it should be enacted either today or tomorrow. And
So
what we need from this group is approval in principle to submit to pre-prod and mainnet, assuming no issues.
So can I suggest we word it in the following way? Assuming no issues, we submit it to pre-prod at the earliest point in time, right? And then we wait again, because pre-prod, we have to wait at least one epoch of enactment there, and we're assuming no issues, we'll then put it onto mainnet at the appropriate time. All right, that's it. They don't go straight onto pre-prod and mainnet at the same time, do they?
They could do, but we like to leave a gap. No.
Well, it is prudent to leave a gap. There is no reason to shorten it.
Yep.
Is there?
Well, the reason for shortening it is that these parameters aren't going to have any impact on pre-prod. So min pool cost makes no difference at all, apart from on mainnet.
Right.
And increasing the pollutus memory limits just allows additional utilization, but it's not going to show any performance problems on pre-prod. Pre-prod is not stretched in the way that mainnet is.
No, but it could. But it does change a parameter associated with transactions, right? Pre-prod is the place where people can test their apps and should be testing their apps continuously, and therefore we should give an epoch at least, just in case for some unforeseen reason it causes some effect. I'm just saying, right?
And it allows people to do the testing ahead of.
It allows people to do the testing. Yes, that's the point. But so we shouldn't. I'm just saying that the cadence is there to allow people to do things. If we remove the cadence, we take responsibility for failures. Okay.
But in terms of impact on the networks, we're not expecting any observable impact on preview or pre-prod.
Exactly. But we do need to get people to do testing. So I'm come back to the same suggestion. Once it's on preview, we get it on pre-prod. Once it's been enacted on pre-prod, we give it one epoch and then we put it on mainnet. That's our tentative plan. We reserve the right to change it if any issues approve.
Great. So does anyone have any objection to proceeding with that plan? Raise your hand now if you have any objections or questions. Great. We'll record that as passed. We'll take that as an action plan. So based on that, all going well, we'd expect to see the governance action submitted on pre-prod this week. Yeah, we'll work out the timeline. But it will be submitted on pre-prod this week. It will be enacted 5 days later, and then we would give it an epoch before submitting on
Mainnet.
mainnet. Okay, so it could be almost a month before this action was out there, Neil. And we did want the mempool cost reduction to be available on mainnet
Well, let's.
to allow for redelegations.
I can't see how we can. This is probably the fastest we can do without cutting corners. I'm just suggesting the system isn't falling around our luggles, right? It's working fine. We reserve the right for emergency actions. I do not consider this an emergency to cut the corners. If anybody disagrees with me, I think that's reasonable, but I think we shouldn't cut the corners. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm not saying it's an emergency, Neil, but I'm not seeing it as a particularly risky action.
I don't see it as a risky action either, but that's the problem. It isn't a risky. Yes.
Well, I think we could be more assertive, more aggressive in this case, because the mempool cost is going to allow pools to reduce their.
Well, I think in which case, Kevin, if you'd like to propose the fact that we go straight to mainnet tomorrow, that would be an assertive action, right? And we got to have a vote on it.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's take that.
What you make the vote. You make the.
Well, I'm being slightly more cautious because I'm saying put it to preview, and then assuming we don't encounter any issues on preview, put it to mainnet and pre-prod. So I would
At the same time.
At the same time. Yeah. So that's
the counter proposal to the previous one. Do you want thumbs up and thumbs down?
Yeah. Well, let's do thumbs up first.
Those in favour.
Those in favour.
Sorry, in favor of submitting it together, or
so submitting it. So submitting the mainnet action together with the pre-prod
in the shortest possible timescale.
Possible timescale.
I'll go ahead and thumbs up that. I don't see the risk.
2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm counting 1, 2, 3. We counted 5. Those against? Neil.
It's fine. I'll be the devil's advocate. I don't mind.
Okay. Yeah.
But I mean, okay, good. Okay, decisions made. I'm just saying, guys, you should please push back, right? I'm pushing back against myself here.
Martin, thumbs up. Great. So we've got a course of action. We'll proceed assertively.
Right. Okay.
And the rollback is to change the parameter settings back to the previous ones. If we change mempool cost back, anyone who's reduced to the new mempool cost still stays at the level they reduced to. So we can't undo actions whilst it's reduced. But anyone who hasn't reduced in that time would then be restricted. So it's not completely reversible.
Yeah,
is the point. But the ambition of the parameter committee is to reduce mempool cost further, and the community would welcome that reduction.
Okay, so we're gonna be assertive, and I will just say we note that if there are any adverse problems, we always have the ability to ask the people of the Constitutional Committee not to vote for it, please. That's our backstop. That's our backstop approach. Right?
That's the backstop. Yeah, and it's very likely that this will be enacted on pre-prod, and we would have 1 or 2 epochs for the testing anyway before the voting reached the stage that it was enacted on mainnet. Yeah. Great. So moving forward on the agenda. Yeah, 2026 budget. So Bosco, I can take this. So the budget proposal is on chain. As we know, it's currently got about 43% in favour. It expires on July the 23rd. So there's a lot of votes still to make up here. We need to be again quite pushy in terms of the voting. And so I've arranged a session for Cardano over coffee tomorrow. The timing unfortunately conflicts with the timing of the hard fork working group. So I know that Neil, you said you can attend Cardano over coffee. Who else can attend the Cardano over coffee session? Okay, so my intention was to attend Cardano over coffee. I'm not sure how critical the hard fork working group is. So maybe that Ryan, you have to take.
What? Could someone send me the link to the Cardano over coffee with the timing on it so I can add it to my diary? It's not in my diary. I can still do it. Right.
I can send the details. I'm also not sure how I get the link myself.
Okay. So this is for what time tomorrow?
It's for
1500 UTC or something?
1400 UTC, 1500 UK time.
1500 UK time. Okay, fine.
Yeah, so given the status of the governance action, I think it makes sense for me to attend Cardano over coffee.
I think that's
a very good reason why I need to go to the hard fork working group. But then, Ryan, you'll have to present the TSC position to the hard fork working group, Ryan and Bosco. Unless you're able to attend Cardano over coffee, Christian, or as vice chair.
It conflicts with an internal call at Filecoin. I won't be able to. But it is an X space, so if y'all just log in on Twitter and Google Cardano over coffee, that's when it'll go live. I don't think there's another link to join it otherwise.
Okay. So I can't give you the link because there isn't a link now.
right. I just need to set. Okay, let me just put.
Set a reminder and.
Yeah, exactly, and then go 10 minutes beforehand. Yeah.
Yeah.
1500 UK. Okay, fine. 1500 UK.
Yeah. So
I'm dropping in the chat the X space. So around that time, just click that, whatever your X candle is, and they should have a session that's live, and you should be able to join them.
Yeah. It's just it's always getting that starting point I find hard sometimes. Here we go. Thank you.
Yeah, they start 30 minutes earlier for general chat, and then our session is booked from on the hour 1500 UK time, 1400.
Yeah, I'll set the time a bit earlier then. Okay, right.
So you can join early. Otherwise, we blogged about this on the Intersect blog. The proposal is to put together another tweet, Bosco, to try to drum up support. Any other suggestions for outreach we can do?
Additional tweet about TSC proposal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, who would be leading that effort to make it?
I can do that, Bosco. I was drafting my head one earlier today.
Okay, just let me know. We will.
It doesn't need to be very complex. It just needs to remind people to.
If someone could give me the URL to the proposal again, I will read it beforehand, so I actually sound reasonable. I not just turn up, but actually have read it again. Remind myself.
If you click on the link in the channel or in.
Okay, right, it's there. It's in the channel. Okay, thank you.
No, this.
That's-
Sorry.
There's a link to the proposal on Cardano scan, so you can see the live one.
Okay.
Do you want me to click it now? Or
I'm
you're
trying to
telling
find- no,
me?
I'm just trying to find. I'm just trying. Oh, there it is. It's in Cardano over coffee. There's the Intercept blog, or it's the proposed. There's the communication plan. I need to copy all of those, don't I? I am just saying, going prepared, right? That's what I'm asking for.
Read the on-chain proposal. All the details are on-chain.
Yeah.
For anyone watching the call, please do vote in favour of the TSC proposal, and please do read the on-chain governance section. It's mostly about supporting the community to deliver technically.
Okay.
Okay, including providing support for evaluating proposals as a pilot for 2027. Great. The other thing to point out is the Intersect budget proposal itself. The main Intersect budget proposal that ours is dependent on is currently running at 36.8%, at least it was earlier today. So they've only got about half the support that's needed to pass. So what I would propose us doing, solicit any votes yourselves, please. Would be what I would propose is when we tweet out a joint statement that includes the Intersect budget proposal as well as the TSC one.
Yeah, just want to add something on that. Larissa from the comms team will prepare until tomorrow, I think, a big document for later today. So I will share it with you. And it is going to be a useful document with all the links and evidence laid out. And the core of the ask is to appeal to those voting yes to TSC, but no to Intersect core. To understand, as Kemi pointed out, that one is dependent on the another.
Yeah, what you don't want to do, Bosco, is to say, "Oh, in that case, I'll change my vote from yes to no on the TSC one."
Absolutely, I agree. I just want to say that I'm going to provide the document as soon as I get it, so it can be used to better inform or articulate the tweet.
I wouldn't do as she's proposing. I think there's a risk there that you reduce support for the TSC proposal rather than increasing it for the Intersect one.
I'm not arguing, of course, like I'm just stating. So I understand you, I get you, but just saying that there will be a document with the links, and that's it. But you will decide. You will, as committee, you will articulate what you want to say, and then that's it. It's not rocket science.
Yeah, I think the better messaging is to encourage everyone to vote. Okay.
Okay.
Great. We'll summarize the proposal. Should we move on to final items? Leandros, product committee roadmap. So understanding from the product committee is we've got an action to create a PR or submit a PR. Is that right?
I have no idea. They haven't talked to me about it.
I passed that information to you, Kevin, but I don't know whether you pass it to Leandros then.
Okay, so you did that to me directly.
Yeah.
Okay, do you mind passing it on to Leandros as well?
Yeah, I will right away.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks. So the product committee is asking for us to produce a PR. As I understood, it was based around the KPIs. I assumed Leandros had seen that. So let's come back to that. Let's come back to that next week. Remaining items, technical gating requirements for linear layoffs. So we had a response back from IOG. Neil, I read the response, and the response didn't seem to be a response to the questions that had been asked. So I was hoping that Jeff was going to be on the call and we could resolve that. Otherwise, what I'll do is I'll send a response and say, look, we think we're talking at cross purposes. Martin.
This is the response for something TSC asked in April, right?
No, we sent a second document about 2 weeks.
So this response that you received is a response for something that TSC asked in April, not the one that was sent just 2 weeks ago.
Correct. So we've got a response from April. I'd assume the response that we'd get back was the one for 2 weeks ago.
Oh, no. That's the earlier one, which was ready for some time, and it was passed to TSC, but somehow it didn't reach you.
Right.
So,
Okay.
so the concern that the IOG team is not responding was actually frustrating on both ends.
Right. So our point was, it wasn't an answer to the questions that we'd submitted, right? And it was presented as a response to your question, which of course we took the most recent one, right?
Yeah. So some confusion over the timing. So what we need to do is we need to look at the response against the questions that were raised in April, evaluate those.
I think we've moved on from that, because I think I've already seen that response, and we've already moved on from that response, right? I think that we've moved on to the ones from 2 weeks ago, are the ones that are key to solve now, because yes.
Okay. So let's just double check that we've recorded the IOG response to the April questions. And if there are any residual questions from that, Neil, let's just make sure they're highlighted. Otherwise, we move on, as you're saying.
The point about the answer to the April questions is they say about a lot of work that will be done.
Right.
Right. And actually, the whole point of the recent questions was to flush out the work that has been done, as well as the questions you wanted answered. Okay.
Fine. So the new questions move the discussion forward.
Yeah. The intention was, yeah.
Okay. So I'll make that clear to Jeff.
Well, I mean, I thought we had at least a response in 2 weeks. It turns out we have a response in 3 months or 4 months. Yes. Okay.
Oh no, Neil, that response that just didn't reach TSC. It was there, and somehow, I don't know, the communication failed.
Yeah. I'm just saying,
Right.
That's an observable event, Martin, right? By the TSC, it only occurred.
It's the same on the other end.
Yeah.
Now we have you involved in the process, Martin.
Yeah, we could possibly try and reduce this. Okay, so basically, our questions from 2 weeks ago are still outstanding then. Okay.
Yes.
And they don't believe. Okay, that does at least say they don't believe. At least there's a mismatch. Yeah.
Great. Good. Final item I put on the agenda was quantum cryptography. Kristen, you were working on a summary report.
Yeah, I needed 1 more week. I should have it this Friday for sure.
Okay, so let's push that back to next week then, and we can put that early on the agenda. Great. So thank you, Ron, for a great meeting. I'll catch up with all of you very shortly, those who want to.